Let's say that you have a cell phone plan that works in the following way. If you use less than 3 gigabytes of data, you pay a flat fee of $40. Once you hit 3 gigabytes of data, then you have to pay $50 plus an additional $10 for every gigabyte over you have used. So I have my axes here. This represents my total cost, and this axis represents my data used in gigabytes. So what we have described here is that if I use up to 3 gigabytes of data, then I have a flat fee of $40. So what that's going to look like is I'm going to have a horizontal line, except when I hit 3 gigabytes, I'm not paying $40 anymore. So the way that we're going to denote that on our graph is through the use of an open circle. And then if I used exactly 3 gigabytes of data, then I have to pay $50 plus an additional $10 for every gigabyte over that I have used. So here's $50. I'll put dollars in parentheses here. And so if I use exactly 3 gigabytes of data, then I'm paying $50. So I'm going to put a closed dot there. And for every additional gigabyte that I'm using, I'm paying an extra $10. So here's 4 gigabytes. And if I use 4 gigabytes, then I am spending $60. And so that's going to go like that. And now I can connect that with a straight line that go through these points here. And it's going to look something like that. So what's the business with open circles and closed circles? Well, I have an open circle here because if I want to read this graph and I want to know how much money I'm spending if I use 3 gigabytes of data, then I find 3 gigabytes on this axis and I go and see where it's going to hit my graph. And there's an open circle there, so it's not going to be $40. I'm going to follow through that open circle until I hit that closed circle. And we have an ordered pair here of 3, 50, which tells us that if I use 3 gigabytes of data, then I am spending $50. So that's what's up with open and closed circles on a function graph. Now, let's say that I wanted to talk about the domain and the range of this particular function. The domain is all of the possible input values, or in this case, all the possible number of gigabytes that I could use on my cell phone plan. And it doesn't really make sense to say I used -4 gigabytes of data or any negative number for that matter. So the smallest number of gigabytes of data you could use is 0 gigabytes. And in theory, you could go off and use anything after 0. So our domain is going to go up to infinity. Our range is a little bit strange because we're looking at the y values that are being utilized. And if you look at the y values that are being utilized, $40 is being utilized here, but then nothing between 40 and 50 is being used, and then 50 and 60 and everything above that, because our graph is going upwards. So the way that we denote that in our range is we have a single element or item of 40, so I'm going to place that in curly brackets, and then union, meaning I'm combining it with another interval, starting at 50 and going up to infinity. So there is our domain and range for this example.